Hi Libra. Alright, welcome to this space. Good morning, or good evening, good afternoon. Buongiorno, pomeriggio. Buonanotte. How are you? I hope this finds you good. If you're new here, welcome. And if you're returning, welcome back, of course. I'm liking that your readings are continuing to be outside. You learn a lot from your that which is outside of you, right? A lot. Let me see if there's anything else before we jump in your cards. That which is not yours will fall away. And that which falls away is unhealthy. So just remember that. Like if it doesn't, I heard if it doesn't fit into the bigger picture, sometimes you can hang on to, something can hang on to something longer. But as time goes by, if it's just a waste of energy, then it will just fall away. I mean, I guess you could also let go, too. But I heard I don't want you to feel bad about that. And I actually saw this very specific message earlier, and I don't know who this is for, but I understand that this is a regular topic, and take it as you may. Like, any of you have ever lost a child, like a miscarriage, or literally, you know, alive and then not here, like a child that you knew passed. Well, I guess that was also teaching you a lesson in letting go, too. Now, although I do feel like this situation specifically, most people experience this somehow, some way, right? It can also be something that you what I see, it's like green and blue and red. That's here, here, and below, right? So there's one space and then there's two spaces. So maybe there's something you're working through also where maybe you're just being reminded of something so that you can heal it and let go of it. And I don't feel like this is physical. This message is not coming because it is physical. It is coming because it is emotional, or it's a memory to something. Because what is a child? It's creation, right? You're creating something. But then also realizing that creations are not our own. Interesting beginning, Libra. You're a lot deeper than most people give you credit for. It's like I told Leo, I've been being really good with smoking, but I do want a cigarette right now. Hold on. People take you at surface value a little bit? Do you ever feel like that? Because it's not the truth, right? All right. Let us begin. That was kind of okay. 6 minutes, perfect. All right. Let's go one at a time. Yeah, look at this tree. Can you see this tree? Where it has its limb that fell off, right? Oh, the birds came back. Cool. Anything that cannot withstand the test of time goes. I guess the child also, to kick back a little bit, the child also, I guess, could be representation of someone that you've been very intimate with, Scorpio, your neighbor, right? And Virgo on the other side, somebody you've thought about a lot. It's like that these passions or these desires are not your own. But that doesn't mean that you're not allowed to have desires of your own. Does this make sense? And then I heard try again. The spirit of clouds. Sometimes the resolve for the problem or the challenge at hand is to allow yourself to be weak. Allow yourself to express your uncertainty. Okay? That's okay. I heard whomever and however you want to express that. Alone, well, you're never alone. You're always with God and nature, right? But alone with other people, with your family, your ancestors, what have you. And you know, it's interesting, collectively, there's been a lot of communication, especially Leo, Aquarius, and you are strong with that this month, this time frame. You could be expecting something from your family. Like maybe expecting some sort of help. But I heard if you don't ask for it and accept it, then you won't get it. Okay? Maybe you're trying to figure out karma a little bit. Like, how do I see this? As if you're it's like you're digging more into history so that you can figure something out in a practical way so you can take relationships to a new level. Because you love relationships, right? You learn like that. Again, you learn so much about that way. You actually have your card here, the Council of Law, which is justice. Very protected. A lot of intrigue here. Okay, what are you desiring to move, like in you, or to move in your life? And I see, where are you impatient? This could also, I really feel like there's a strong conversation with your ancestors. Or again, with history. Maybe the lost child is also kind of you. Okay, so we talked about love last time, right? You and Virgo. I loved it. And actually, it's Virgo. Well, it's tropical, it's Virgo season. Sidereal, it's Leo. But still, this is still a conversation from the heart, right? And about love and marriage and relationships and all this. And I know that there's some sadness around that still, right? Maybe you don't go slow enough. Or maybe you expected a lot, you know, for everything to work out perfect, and it didn't. Well, I guess we all got our button on that one. But you know what the thing is when you put energy and effort into something, right? We all forget, sometimes get wrapped up in stuff, and then don't do certain things, right? And when you don't do certain things, then things, well, whatever we do is what creates our life, right? But I feel like you're going to remember, you will remember something, which will help you to make different physical choices in your actions, right? And because of that, that causes a kind of movement, I heard, that is very sweet. But it may take a little while. Like, don't think, for instance, that your efforts are futile, because they're not. However you're going about this, okay? I actually read this morning. Maybe this is, for you too. Now I saw the word self-reliance. That's important. But this is also to fold this in. It says, His grace was so powerfully at work in them all, that there were no needy persons among them. And then I looked down and I saw the word together, and then building, rejoice, and then emotional needs. Because if you do play a tough hand sometimes, right? So, if you expect to do well, in yourself, and you are willing to look at, like, I guess right now it's important to be decisive and to gauge your own proficiency in something. Like, what level are you at, or what level is this at? And I do see, again, I keep looking at this card and seeing this as like, it's like generation upon generation, you know? But it's a glass house, so what do they say? What do I see? Well, I guess you have an ability to be decisive in this time. Or maybe you're figuring out more about how you make decisions. You know, do you say yes really fast and then you wish that you didn't? Or is it hard for you to, where is it hard for you to make up your mind right now with a situation, like where you feel really stable and solid? And are you dealing with this all on your own? And where can you ask for a little bit of help? There's something also here about apples. About, okay, remember what I said before where, okay, you forget something and then you do something, and because of that, something shows up, right? And although I heard it could be a little jarring, like you didn't really expect it, but maybe you didn't believe in yourself that it could do that. But I see that it can, and it actually is something that's like really funny, and you're like, how did that happen? You know, I mean, I see you still want to take your distance in observing the situation, but I need you to know that your efforts, again, are not futile. Okay? And if it takes a little while for something to physically create itself, right? I said this to somebody else, but when the fishermen cannot fish, they mend their nets, right? When you can't do something, you can do, there's always something else to do. So again, you put some effort towards something, you put it in there. I heard, don't worry about it. You did that, and you felt good about that, right? You gave your grace, you gave your time. You didn't do it in a needy way for yourself or thinking that somebody else needed you when they didn't even ask, and you're wasting your time, right? You're just being you in your most loving self. Well, then I heard love will arrive in the way that you need it. But not necessarily if you expect it, though. With certain things, it's not going to show up like that. And this goes more into like purple, gray, and brown. You know, it's more muted colors than primary. I guess you have to deal with the primary situations to be able to find this softer place that's more grounded, right? Bright red, bright blue, bright colors are very childlike. Muted colors are more mature, right? The blacker the berry, the sweeter the juice. As long as it has enough water. Interesting. Who was the love of your life? I know that's kind of a loaded question, but just let it come. Like, who was the love of your life? I heard, who did you have children with? Who were you married to, or felt like? And what was the most responsible relationship you were ever in? Where it was reliable. And you were allowed to be yourself 100%. Okay, interesting. So we're still talking about, I like that the readings are kind of coming out in a way that's folding into recent times, in a sense, like the reading to the reading, because to me this shows a really nice, and Aries talked about this, you know, being mature, being mature, you know, because that's how change happens, is like it's building blocks, you know, and you have to clean things up, right? And your wind, so... Hey, cat, you better be nice to those birds. Sorry. I stopped feeding her because she started being an asshole, because all cats are assholes, you know? Yeah, I'm not angelic. Nobody is. We're humans. But we can do a really good job of understanding what's going on. So, maybe that's another thing is, do you have any projections of, like, into other, like, expecting other people to be perfect? Because that might happen, I feel like, to Libra, like, wherever Libra makes has made mistakes with other people, once you come to love yourself more and realize that a lot of those mistakes were your own fault, by not loving yourself, when you come to really love yourself, it almost kicks over into a Virgo where there's like really high expectations. And it's nice, I see, it's nice and good to raise the bar, right? You want to make sure you have a bar. You don't want to be, you know. But the interesting thing about that is well, I just saw like a bunch of people roller skating at a roller rink, and you know how they would put the bar and you'd have to like do the, what's that dance where you like bend over and it's like shit, what is that called? It's good for your lower back, but maybe you want to watch that part, the stress there. But if the bar is really high, if we're going to take this in a different context, this is what I saw. When the bar is really high, then anyone can, like, get underneath it. But the way we take that saying is that when the bar is so high, well, you can't jump. When you set the bar high, then we're talking about jumping over it. But if it was literal, if the bar was really high, then anyone could walk under it, right? And get to that place that was over it. Does this make sense? But if you set it low, it's like, well, then you're going to need, the lower it is, you're going to need to be more flexible. So I guess you need open-minded people in your life. You know what I mean? People that aren't too rigid. Hi. Hi, Ren. The birds haven't been around for a couple weeks. See ya. And now they're here again. They haven't been here for a while. Now they're here. Cool. Who are your friends? Or let's put it this way. I was reading, my buddy Mark suggested to read Corinthians. My uncle gave me his Bible when he was a kid, and it's kind of new to me, but I read it. You know, I was like, ooh, what part should I read? And he's like, no, you should read the whole thing. And I was like, oh, okay, I'll start from the beginning. And so I did, and I learned a lot through doing that about this story, right? And one of the things, there's two things in here, Libra, that are important. One of them is, well, love is everything. You know what I mean? Like, it really is everything. And, and you can love, I heard everybody, everything. But you have to remember that bad people ruin good morals. Bad company ruins good morals. You know when your mom or your dad, I feel like it's more of a, for me it was a mom thing, but like when your parent says, you know, no, I don't want you hanging out with that person. They're a bad influence. And you're like, no, they're not, you know, like, I'll do what I want. You know, and they're like, well, if Bobby jumped off a bridge, would you too? And the kid always says no. You know, the immature one denies what the mature one knows, right? But through time, you come to realize that other people can be very influential to you, right? For instance, here, like, we're influencing, like, one another in a sense, like, anything you're interacting with is an influence. I want to think about that word more in linguistics. We'll do that later. But the point is that we're always being, I guess, interacting with other things, and that creates an energy which makes us either think or feel something, which then causes an action, and which creates a physical reality. And so I see, do you have any bad influences? Or who is it when you're around you, do you ever forget about your moral, excuse me, well, I guess is the thing in relation to morals, you know, you're exalted, Libra is exalted in Saturn. And if you think about this, they created Libra to be an in-between space between this ultimate purity and, like, the light and the dark, right? They put Libra in the middle to be like, okay, there is a center point here. It's like twilight or dusk, right? This is you. And Saturn, also about relationships, obviously, one-on-one partnerships with people. Soulful connections, what that means, really. And commitment, because Saturn is about commitment and long-term realities and dedication and time and karma. And so you have a high, as a sign, wherever this is in your map, this is a place where you're healing and meant to work through great karma and become very responsible for yourself as an individual, like your relationship to yourself. You know what I mean? Like, what is your moral standing? Because I bet for all of you, your morals have gone out the window in the past because of the people that you hung around, right? And I feel like that's a way that you learn by engaging yourself with other people, but I just needed to check in where this is positive and where this is negative. Now, if it's a little frictional or ego triggering, that isn't necessarily bad. That's just adjusting something. And I guess you're always supposed to think twice before you do things, because well, because you really want to do your best, right? Three of Trees. You really want to do your best and be proud of your choices And, you know, maybe that's the thing with relationships, too, is we've all chosen, especially in this day and age, we've all chosen incorrectly, quote unquote, right? And maybe this goes into, like, you know, sadly, I feel like most people that even have children, like, are divorced or not with, like, the parents are not together, or somebody that you married, you're not together. It's like, committed yourself to. And I guess this is what we have to learn collectively. So that we can go, it's like going back to the golden age. And I feel like this has to do with Estrella, which is a star. She was the last immortal that supposedly lived on Earth with the mortals. And then this also has to do with Vesta, or Hestia. So this is about finding, like, well, I heard triumph in your ambition and understanding the momentum of your own control, because that's another thing that Saturn rules, is control. And rules, although that's more Sun, Jupiter, Mars rules, but still, it's of structure. And I want you to know that you're going the right way. That you have help when you need it. It's okay that if you're still, those parts where you're longing. This self-awareness that you're coming to and have found your own independence, your own ability to discern. That's another thing with Saturn. To discern what is correct. Right? And to hold your ground even when someone else doesn't agree. That's okay. I mean, always be nice, right? If you can. Because really, I bet Libra invented this saying, you know, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say it at all. Because even if there was something, for instance, that you did not like or you did not agree with or what have you, that feeling is still valid, that thought is still valid, but you don't have to say anything. You know, the truth is still the truth to you, whatever your truth is, even if you don't speak it. But even if there is, again, something that you don't agree with or you don't like or what have you, well, if that's not you, then let it be. 3333. But I heard, if anything does trigger you, please be aware that that is your deal. Right? No projections on other people. Because remember, you're the one balancing the light and the dark. And I see again, Vesta or Hestia. And I also saw Palace for you in the beginning. I have 2 videos about each one of these goddesses, the stars, in my playlist called Extra Readings. Maybe it would be nice for you to check in there, okay? And I do feel as if Scorpio and Virgo, either side of you is important right now. And I'll give you a little bit of a tidbit of Scorpio's reading. You could tap in there if you want to, if you feel so inclined. But I need you to remember that you are graceful and meant to be graceful But that does not ever mean that you need to be subservient to other, like be lower than someone else. And of course I heard not judging anyone, that they are, you know, above or below you, human, right? We're all on the same plane of existence. Yes, High Priestess. There's Capricorn Saturn right there. I heard knowing is for knowing. And life and death or change in this way, the cycles of things, this is something so deep that humanity has to learn about love, right? Maybe that's why that reading last month was so deep in that. And those of you who understood what that meant and that helped you to open up a space where maybe it was a little bit closed, I'm so grateful for you. Because we need to be more kind to one another, you know, more fair with one another, more understanding. Yeah, the Council of Law. You know, natural laws do no harm. I love you, Libra. Thank you so much for being here. I do hope this was of service. The readings this month have just flown by. The time is very interesting. Almost 40 minutes. Wow. Good talk. Thank you for being such a loving, forgiving, understanding energy in this world. Because you know what? You, to close this out, you, to me, Libra is very much like an essence of we're all one. Do you know what I mean? Like you can put yourself in someone else's shoes, and that's so beautiful. And now I feel like because you have better boundaries, it's like you can do that without literally, you know, physically, energetically, whatever, going into someone else's world. I mean, you can if you want to, like jump in, jump out, but not staying there and trying to hold it for them, right? Because it's everybody's job to find their own faith. And I want you to know that you're doing a good job, okay? I also heard, when are you naked? I love you so much. Please take care. Peace.